he is a misogynist, that he is homophobic, that he is racist, and that he mismanaged a coronavirus pandemic.
How he kowtowed to Vladimir Putin, he cozied up to Kim Jong-un, he alienated us from our allies, he put children in cages, he villainized the free press, he hid his tax returns, he tear-gassed peaceful protesters, he pardoned all his criminal buddies, he extorted Ukraine, he misled us about COVID, he dismantled the pandemic response team, he dismantled healthcare, he called neo-Nazis very fine people, he hired a never-ending parade of imbeciles.
Russia about national security, just undermining our national security, the impeachment, the racism, the Nazis, all of it.
He left the toilet seat up. He left the car with no gasoline in it. He got Pluto decertified as a planet. There's nothing this piece of crap didn't do. My God. There's nothing he didn't do. We showcased it for you for the last 4 years, America. Welcome to the Burn Barrel podcast, you idiots, by the way. You're in trouble. I'm in trouble. Alice is in trouble. The dogs are in trouble. The kids, we are all in trouble. They are very, very disappointed in us. Our betters on the coast, the elites in the country are very, very disappointed. They've been trying to show you for 4 years how bad this guy is. They hated him from the beginning. So they gleefully took every single news item that they could find, whether benign or serious or half serious or completely vapor or fabricated totally. They packaged it up for you, and they tried to make you see. They know that you're not capable of the intellectual heft that they are. They know that. But still, they tried to make you see, but you were too stupid to see. 4 years, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Fallon. For 4 years, they put the keys to their funny machine away, parked it and mothballed it so they could spend time explaining to you how serious this was. And once in a while, they'd use humor just to dunk a little bit so they could see how terrible the president was. Whatever it took.
I have to say, Joe Biden definitely did better than Hillary Clinton. He was able to pick up the sexist vote, but he didn't do as well among racists, so...
There you go. It's a joke, and the punchline is racist. So he's willing to couch in terms for you how bad the president is in what is seemingly comedy. In other words, he'll call the president explicitly racist, and the applause sign will go off, and that will count as a joke. He's happy to, whatever it takes. Please, just let the message get into you somehow. I understand. They know that you're too stupid to be just told or explained to how bad this president is. So sure, they'll manufacture something resembling a joke. Sure, they'll drive it home with SNL because they know some of you are mouth-breathing idiots who probably work for a living and have one or, maybe 2 jobs. And so you need to be talked to. They have to get down on one knee and talk down to you, and they'll say, okay, they're too stupid to understand it, so let me put this hand puppet on, like Sherry, whatever, with Lammy, whatever that thing was, so that you understand it. So we'll have entire SNL skits now that are all about, look how stupid Trump is and evil and bad. We tried to show you again and again. Why did you do this to us on election night? Why did you do this? Why did you disappoint us on election night? We've been working overtime, these elites who are millionaires. And, from millionaires to just condescending neighbors in upscale towns like Wellesley, Massachusetts, with lawn signs. For years, they took out their lawn signs weren't for them. They were for you. You dummies who have to work for a living, who spend your time having extra jobs, extra gigs on the weekend, driving Uber. You idiots who would get into fields like nursing, where, God, you have to deal with human beings in pain and patience and witness ugly things and like that. For you schmucks who do construction for a living or are dumb and have to be a cop, who yeah, fine, you'll do enough details and you get to have a place in Lake Winnipesaukee and maybe open a bar in Key West someday, if you're lucky enough. We tried to show you stupids how dumb this guy was because you were too obstinate the first time, because you hated Hillary Clinton, because you're sexists, obviously. We know that about you. And you've disappointed us. And Jimmy Kimmel is mad at you. They're all mad at you. And by the way, this is freaking delicious. This is so wonderful. It is so wonderful. The fact that all this time, all these efforts, but they're your betters. They're more important than you. You watch the Oscars. You watch them get out of cars and walk on a rug. And you watch them stand in vacuous little, in photo sprays, preening in front of you. You're supposed to know that they're better than you. And you don't listen to what they say. They spend time in the Golden Globes telling you how bad Trump is and blushing and crying and saying, now we're going to stand up. Now finally we are fighting back and we're doing. They've shown you how good they are and you didn't freaking listen on election night. Oh, and especially, by the way, you Hispanics, Chicanos. No. Especially those of you Chicanos, by the way, who are Mexican Americans, if you didn't know else.
Okay.
That's what that means. I looked it up today. So I wouldn't get in trouble because it was written in a news story. And I said, are you allowed to use that word? That's what that means.
Oh, okay.
Chicanos who are in, they're now, that word is now extinct. They're now
I know Cubans are now whites.
Right. Well, that's exactly what Chicanos are. So Cubans are whites. Chicanos are now also whites because they, in Arizona, voted for Donald Trump in large part. And that is not good. Not good. So bad. That is bad. And you've already heard, what's her name, who said that 50 Cent was black and so he wasn't allowed to do?
Chelsea Handler.
Chelsea Handler, yeah. We're not allowed to do that. So just so you know, you've all lost your melatonin or whatever that is. You're now all white.
Your melanin card is gone.
Exactly. So you're now white, a wretched oppressor like me who's now just a bigot. So 50 Cent and Ice Cube and Lil Bump or whoever that is,
Lil Pump,
yeah, right? And all of you Cuban folks who dared vote for Donald Trump, yes, you're all white supremacists now. So that's just that, and that's what it is. And there will be a lot of jokes now. Slowly they'll start, but it'll be mainstreamed, where you will be the butt of the jokes, and the joke will be you, a politician or idea they don't like. And the punchline is, you're a white supremacist. And the applause sign will go on, and there will be people clapping for it, and it won't be funny, but it's meant to teach the rest of the holdouts that no one is safe, and you will be punished for this. But let's get right to...
Right. Can I add one thing? Is that what's incredible about this is that, do they not understand that they're rewarding us? Because this is, like, it doesn't matter who wins the presidency now. I get the benefit of Trump winning the presidency without even knowing who won yet, which was the whole benefit of Trump winning was to make the blue checks on Twitter freak out again, because that was what was so amazing about 2016. And they're doing it now, whether or not he wins. So it's, like we might not even have to endure 4 more years of insane tweeting to get this reaction from them. They might just do it all the time now.
Yes. No, and they will, because they'll never get it. Some will get it. But
Michael Moore has understood it for like 6 years and has been falling on deaf ears, complaining about this.
Exactly. No, he absolutely gets it, and it's just your neighbors in Wellesley. They won't get it because they're the people who on the street will be most angry at you. Those are the people who will use a proxy symbol now to weigh judgment on you. Now it's the masks. Right now, for the next 2 months, it'll be the masks right now. But they're the most angry. These are not people who would ever have gaudy lawn signs ever. And they have, swallowed their pride over the last 4 years and defaced their own lawns with lawn signs showing you how noble they are, but really instructing you at how ignoble you are. And how dishonorable you are because you don't have that lawn sign, because you don't believe that all lives matter, and you don't believe that hate has no home here. And they've done all this thing. They've had to mow the lawn, mow around it. They have had to push the lawnmower, take their hands off the lawnmower so the lawnmower then stops. The engine turns off. They've had to go pick up the lawn sign, park it against the wall, mow that area, go grab the lawn sign, put it right back. That's a pain in the ass. It's somebody who mows the lawn about a fifth as much as I should.
Have their landscapers do it in a lot of cases.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. I didn't think of that. They're landscapers, right.
They haven't had to encounter the lawn sign mostly.
Exactly. They're landscapers who, by the way, it's fine when their landscapers are using leaf blowers at 7:15 in the morning. When their neighbors are using leaf blowers at 7:15 in the morning, that is not fine. And they're happy to call because they don't want the guy who's the landscaper, who might be actually a Latino person,
Nope, they're white now.
Right.
Their landscapers are white
now. Well, now
now.
they are. All landscapers are Trump fans, as far as I know. Can you imagine being a landscaper and it's like 9 a.m. and you're out there just trying to do landscaping in summer and having somebody call the town or cops on you because you're making noise, but you're just doing that because you want to be able to do that stuff while it's cooler out, not burn to death in the sun. But, it doesn't matter. Mila Nixon Ward, Hamilton next door, who's got 17 PhDs and 86 pronouns on her Facebook profile, she is put out by having to hear that. It's ear pollution. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent from a tangent. So, Jimmy Kimmel is mad. They're all mad at us, and that's the upside of this election. I know, and Alice is going to talk about the X's and O's and where we are in a few. I know that that people are still upset, and we're watching in a lot of people's eyes, and I'm certainly I'm a little more sensitive to what I'm seeing now than I have been. Every hour in the past 24 hours, I'm told something is extremely normal that I'm wondering, like, wait a second, should really be people have copy paper boxes full of ballots, like running into polling places? Should guys be, nullifying both ballots and just like chucking them aside? I'm like, okay. I'm not believing everything I'm seeing, but I'm believing some stuff I'm seeing. And this year more than ever, if ever somebody's going to cheat, it's this year.
Pam Bondi had to get a court order to go and observe the counting as an attorney for the Trump campaign in Philadelphia. Yeah. She had to get a court order. They wouldn't let Trump's lawyers in. I mean, that's just wild to me. Just what's wrong with letting them watch if it's all fine, And for a bunch of people who say they're trying to unify the country and they really want to shore up trust in our democratic institutions and people's trust in the vote counts and to make sure that we all believe the results of the election, unlike the last 4 years when a certain group of people refused to believe the results of the election, they really don't want anybody to see what they're doing, which you would think you would want the world watching you count votes if you were all about like trust and democracy and stuff. Why are you booting lawyers out of the building? It just doesn't look good. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but a little transparency and a little explanation and a little goodwill would go a long way here to winning over some of the people who do not trust you. I don't know why on earth Trump fans wouldn't trust this group of people after the last 4 years, but they don't trust you. So, there are things that election officials in these hotly contested states could do to prove that, they're on the up and up, and they're just not doing them. So that it's upsetting, but that's where we are as a country. And I have to say, I'm like discouraged by the way that the election officials and the counters and everybody are behaving in places like Philadelphia and Detroit. And I'm not that I expected much different, but I'm upset about the disingenuous responses to Trump being upset about it. It's like the Kavanaugh thing. Like, well, we just accused you of being a rapist. Why are you reacting this way? My goodness. Like, so we're just kicking your lawyers out of the polling place. Why are you saying we're trying to steal an election? You, sir, are undermining trust in our democracy.
Right. And
That's
this is
so
a matter.
inappropriate.
Yes. And this is more flexible and fluid than usual. And we'll get back to all that stuff. Because this is good versus evil, and you don't seem to understand that. And obviously you can't, on this level, on the municipal level, you can't understand that, which is why we've invaded the culture, to have your cultural betters explain to you what's right and what's wrong. And hopefully this time you listen, because hopefully next time you listen, because apparently this time you didn't, and that is no good.
I have to say, I'm very happy and relieved that it looks like we're finally sending this monster back to Mar-a-Lago. But I'm also, yes, go ahead. I'm also shocked that it was this close. We reunited the cast of every movie and TV show ever made to win this election.
We went out of our way. All of your superiors in Hollywood, we're in show business. The cast from Dawson's Creek got together on a Zoom meeting for you and told you to vote for Biden. You didn't listen to them? They were really cool at one time. They don't have to do that for you. We had Mark Hamill out there several times. He actually had to say the freaking words, "May the force be with you." He had to do that for you. And you didn't appreciate what he did for you in the Happy Days cast, all 3 remaining members.
Don't forget the West Wing, the West Wing reunion.
The West Wing, which was simply a documentary of the Clinton administration, which, I mean, those people, what they've done for you already, and you didn't listen? We're so much better than you, and we did this. We are the same people who deigned to phone bank for you after 9/11. Even us felt that maybe that was either middle of the road or negative expression against the United States. But we phone banked for you after 9/11. Remember that? Hi, this is Brad Pitt. How much would you like to donate? We did that for you, and this is what we get. We did so much for you.
It is unimaginable to me that close to half of American voters saw what this man has done to this country.
Unimaginable. I can't even imagine it. I can't imagine it. You saw all the badness. Can you imagine that you saw this? To me, I can't even get my mind around it.
Over the last 4 years, how he kowtowed to Vladimir Putin, he cozied up to Kim Jong-un, he alienated us from our allies, he put children in cages, he villainized.
The most beautiful thing is kowtowing to Putin, Kim Jong-un, children in cages, and all of these things that they're going through. Mm-hmm. First of all, nobody in this guy's level had any clue before Trump what the etiquette was or protocol was in dealing with Putin or Kim Jong-un, or before Trump got there, Kim Jong-un was lighting nukes off over Japan. And we gave Putin a restart button under Hillary Clinton.
He was our ally, remember?
Of course.
Remember, telling Mitt Romney, the 80s called, they want their foreign policy back, ha ha.
Exactly, or the kids in cages thing, which is not a good policy, by the way, but which is congressionally mandated, and also it had to do with the courts. Kids in cages thing. They're following the laws written by your legislators, and you didn't give a flying F when they were writing those laws. So they're just discovering these things. But the fact is that they didn't bother to learn about these. They were too excited to take these issues without knowing anything about them whatever, and saying, okay, liberal media influencer, this is terrible, right? And the media influencer says, yes, it's terrible. It's unorthodox. It's new. It can't be the normal. It's unforeseen before in history. Okay, then I am pissed off. Now let me run over to, poor bloke working 2 jobs, knock on his door and say, now do you see? I know you didn't believe me before just because I have drive a Lexus and I have a better house than you. That should have told you I know more than you, but that didn't. But so fine. Now do you see? Now do you see? So they just take these things. They don't care. Generic story number 1, Trump evil. Generic story number 2, Trump evil. Generic story number 3, Trump evil. They take all these and they don't even care. They list them off like the laundry list of things.
The free press. He hid his tax returns. He tear gassed peaceful protest.
He hid his tax returns.
I believe he's under audit.
Oh, I don't even care if he's under audit. Who gives a flying horse bleep who hid what tax returns? Nobody really cares about that. Nobody cares. What the Jimmy Kimmel's tax returns or Trump's tax returns? Trump hid his tax returns right in front of people, and he lied about it. He said, first he said, I'm going to show you my tax returns. Lie. Perfectly politician thing to do, except his was just in your face. And then he said, I'm under audit, I can't do it. Right, he's lying. Who cares about his tax returns? Who cares about line item C8 and whether that can be, deducted from line 84B and whether there's another allowance in there for...
I can tell you that if he released
them... All they care about is that hopefully those tax returns show that he's an evil son of a bitch. That's all that matters. They don't know. Well, doesn't care. Who cares that he paid $750 in taxes? Nobody actually cares about that stuff. That's nobody's kitchen table issues. If your life is awesome and you've got a driveway that features a Lamborghini, but not solely a Lamborghini, then maybe your life is so good that something like that other guy's tax return might bother you. But it's not a kitchen table issue.
Well, of course, it's not really a kitchen table issue, but I think if he had released his tax returns, you would have seen exactly what you saw with the Mueller report, which also nobody really cared about. But you would have seen the same thing where a bunch of people would have immediately become experts on tax policy and known all kinds of crazy ins and outs about what Trump deducted in 2007. And, everybody would be reading with a fine-tooth comb. You're liberal friends in town with you would be sitting down with a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon and a stack of Trump's tax returns to read them on a Friday night so they would know the latest in their scandal conspiracy theory, which is exactly the same thing as QAnon, but for the left. That's like what it is. They know the whole cast of characters of the Russia hoax and this and that and Justice Kennedy's son's bank.
But they don't know, all they know is that he's an evil SOB, and anything that crosses the transom, any bit of news or information at all, no matter how benign, is rewrapped immediately and considered state's evidence number 1, number 2, number 3, for no reason. And it's unfounded. Melania Trump put a jacket on that said, "I don't really care, do you?" Oh my God, she meant about dying kids or hurricane victims or the Holocaust or who knows what. We know that it's the most monstrous thing in the world. Look at the jacket. Yep, it's a jacket. Some kid mowed the lawn in front of Trump. Son of a bitch. You know what that... Yeah, we all know what that means. We all, and then they say, of course, and now obviously his fans are filthy racist. We already know, and they build off these notions that they have, or just simply build off the core belief that they hate him and he's evil and he's bad because they have to have some kind of moral, structure and equilibrium out there. And they pick the most evil one, the most easy one, which is simply that they're really good, he's really evil, and that's it. And sure, they'll throw little things out there to show you that he is, but you should just know that. So that's why all these issues.
He pardoned all his criminal buddies.
Can you imagine a president pardoning all his criminal buddies? Can you imagine that? My God, never happened before, right? Mm-mm. Right? Jesus,
nope, never.
Mark Rich, and it is a presidential custom to pardon your, quote, criminal buddies. In this case, some of his buddies shouldn't have been criminals. They're busted in process crimes because it's horse bleep Mueller stuff.
Restored Ukraine. He misled us about COVID. He dismantled the pandemic response.
Look at all these things. Well, he did all these things. Why don't you get it? Why don't you get it? Because you're not saying anything that means anything. Misled us about. We all saw what he said about COVID. We all saw it. The fact that you consider it malicious, misleading.
He dismantled healthcare. He called neo-Nazis.
The guy before dismantled healthcare, my friend Jimmy Kimmel. The guy before, remember you cried? Remember? The guy before dismantled healthcare, sweeping healthcare reform.
As a matter of fact, the only reason Obamacare is not as terrible as it was in the Obama administration is because now Trump is running it. You know, which is a point that I think gets overlooked an awful lot. Is that Obamacare under Obama was a horror show, and it's improved a lot since Trump took it over. You know, I mean, I don't know. Can't argue with results.
Very fine people. He hired
called racist, very fine people. Of course, which he didn't do, but that's fine. It's so close to him having said that's too appetizing. Just make it. He called them very fine people. Just make it that. It's fine. We all agree that he said that, right? Yeah, we all agree. Whatever it takes, man.
Never-ending parade of imbeciles. He lied, and then he lied some more. He is a liar and a cheat who wants them to stop counting thousands of legitimate votes, and almost half of us are apparently okay with that. Half of us want to keep it going for 4 more years.
Just because you're hysterical in your heart and intellectually lazy, and present to us a flimsy case where your emotions are overflowing and your anger is coming out of your face as you're handing this to us. You're saying, look at this piece of garbage I'm handing you. I am upset. This is the proof. You never bothered to vet the proof. You're just trying to, because we're not buying your argument because you're a hysterical idiot. You're saying, well, then now you have to buy it. See, now I've got legitimate reasons why. And we're looking at that and we're saying, no, you're still an idiot holding a bunch of crap now.
And it doesn't occur to them that the whole reason half of us want to keep the Trump thing going is because exactly of rants like this. Is because you cannot buy entertainment like this.
Well, that's the second half of it, because sometimes they say the truth.
What more did Donald Trump have to do to show us that he's insane and not fit to lead this country? I feel like I overestimated the American people.
Oh, that's right. That's what it comes to.
I think that's what's called saying the quiet part out loud.
Right. So, and I didn't want to have to say this, says Jimmy, but I feel like I overestimated you. I thought that had I talked to you for 4 years and had a decidedly freaking morbid show for 4 years, where we spend half the show yelling, sometimes crying over what a bastard Donald Trump is, and the other half just dunking on him. Yeah, he's an idiot, and his fans are stupid. Well, you know what? It didn't work on you, and so this is more about you. We tried to couch all of our Trump hate into funny little quips so that you'd be inspired to turn against him finally.
Here's the bottom line. Donald Trump is going to serve another term. We just don't know whether it will be in Washington or in prison yet. And
yeah, that's right. So there you go. That's exactly right. That's as far as we have to think. That's a great that's a great sloganeering piece of humor, I guess.
I mean,
and that's right. So there we go. We kept. That's all we have to. That's as deep as we have to think. Kids in cages, Ukraine, Putin's puppet, the North Korean guy. He's mean, sexist, rape.
He bragged about sexual assault.
Exactly. Happy bags about sexual assault. Yeah, that's all we have to think.
And they really think that he will go to prison. They thought that he was going to go to prison and Junior was going to go to prison for a long time with the Mueller stuff, and they were convinced that Mueller had some long game plan with essie. I'm telling you, this is as elaborate as QAnon. And they really think there's a whole bunch of people out there that think the whole reason Trump wanted to win re-election is because being the president makes you immune to prosecution for your crimes, and that if he's not elected, he knows he's going to jail for a long time, so he really needed to win re-election to keep himself out of jail. So that's their whole thing. They really think that. This is the equivalent of if a Fox News host was talking about Q and trust the plan and stuff. It's just wild that they actually think this.
Oh yeah, no, I knew back in the very early '90s. I knew a girl that she was a girl then. She I think still is a girl, but we went to high school with this young lady, and she went away to Oxford or something in England. And, of course, after a semester, was dating her professor, and, of course, had an English accent, because, of course, she was going to. After a semester. And she was saying, in her English accent, this is a good Winchester liberal. This is how they were in Winchester, how they are now. Now they're all parents, and now they've got Black Lives Matter signs in the yards. Anyway, she said that... we said, I don't know how we got into politics, but my brother was fine. He was more apolitical than I was. I was kind of a George H.W. Bush guy. I mean, compared to Clinton, I couldn't. And we said something. We got on the subject of George H.W. Bush. She said, I think he should be bleeping shot. I said, what? He said, he should be shot. He should be shot for war crimes, for what he did to the Iraqis over oil. It was all over oil. This is somebody from Winchester, Massachusetts, by the way. I know I sound like more Dolores or Reardon than somebody English, but
yeah, it was Irish, Scottish, something was happening there.
But Dolores O'Riordan would probably agree. But so her whole feeling was that because the battle to liberate Kuwait was over oil, and the president was saying it was for democracy and this and that, and so he should be shot. He should be shot. And to me at that point I thought, wow, that's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh. He was just trying to. There was a treaty, and the Iraqis invaded Kuwait, and they weren't allowed to. So we kicked them out, and a lot of them died during war. But I was 19 at the time, and I learned a little bit later. And she's right in a sense that it was a war for oil. A good 63% of the wars are in the last 100 years. Yeah. Yes, resources are what cause wars. Resources and territory and riches, and that's what happens. And so I didn't hold on to forever that it was about building a democracy and maintaining. I mean, that's a nice silver lining. It sounds good, and the Kuwaitis, worked with us and this and that, and good partners in trade, etc. But eventually, the real world has to hit you, and this romantic thing that they're simply good. It's over ensuring a democracy stays, although I don't know that they were a democracy. They were probably a theocracy. Wait, which one has a king?
What?
A theocracy is by religion. Which one has a king?
A monarchy?
And maybe it's a monarchy. Anyway, but the idea that things are black and white, that is such an amateurish thing, and which is one of the reasons that Jimmy Kimmel is so, it's so lame watching him, because he's essentially that girl who then was 20 years old, learning to think for the first time. And now he's in his initial role, which is, liberalism, progressivism, feels, the look and feel of are you going to throw up? What are you going to do, sneeze? What are you doing?
It's going to just cough.
Oh, go ahead, cough.
I can't.
You were doing something that was very... progressivism
I was
feels...
trying not to cough.
When
now I can't.
When you're new at politics, progressivism feels... It's the more fun thing. It's so easy, and it's all about everybody gets equal, and you're taught this stuff as a little kid in school. So the residual effect of all your time in school, you treat everybody nice, and everybody's equal, and all things are okay, and being different is what makes us interesting, and all those simple things. And those are nice things to think and feel, but in life, those can be your core tenets, but in life happens. Life has real things, and factors come that can transcend, sweet and fluffy notions. Anyway, I'm way the hell off base here. Oh yeah,
you're
let's get
off
back.
topic.
Let's get back. Wow, you know what? Somebody was coughing. It threw me off. All right, so let's get back on topic. Sunny Hostin, who's only put on Earth really for me to find a really absurd comments from. I don't know anything about her, but she appeared a couple years ago and says dumb thing after dumb thing. But that's what the view is. I assume somebody's in on the joke. But anyway, here's Sunny Hostin. She's a lawyer, so she's important. And for those of you listening, I'll just content warning. You're in trouble again. I'm in trouble. Your pets are in trouble. We're all in trouble.
I am actually surprised that this race has been so close, not because of the pollsters, but more importantly, because of the botched job that this president did. I mean, for the past 4 years, this president has shown us that he is a misogynist, that he is homophobic, that he is racist, and that he...
I am shocked that racist came up. Here's Joy Behar in the background echoing it.
That he mismanaged a coronavirus pandemic to the tune of over 250,000 American deaths.
He mismanagement. He mismanaged death by death all the way up to 250,000. Day by day. Oh, there goes another one. Oh, there goes another one. As he's tweeting away, he's tweeting, immediately. But it's soldered right into the coronavirus are the fatalities, and that's all on him. Those were clear things that he did to make sure that there were casualties in deaths in this virus. All of the things he did that are just a given. Nobody, of course, says, by the way, can we just go through those one by one and talk about... No. Those are given in those circles.
Yet 50% of America saw all of that and looked the other...
Can you imagine? 50% saw all of that. So you had the evidence right now. So you saw it. So you are liable. You saw it. You were informed. But still...
way to their brothers and their sisters and said, I'm going to vote for him anyway.
To your fellow Americans in your family and say, despite the fact that he's killing you and raping you and making you poor and in making sure that that foreign actors will kill you, that no matter what, I don't care, I'm still going to vote for him. Just to spite you.
And that is really disheartening because for me, that means that you are selfish, right?
It can only be that you're selfish. It cannot be. There is no possible way that you have a different feeling, that you've analyzed the issue and dissected the issue in a different way than me. It cannot be. No. You'll have to take all of these laundry list of bullet points that I just spouted off. Those are law. Those are fact. Those are the word of God himself now in stone. And you see them right in front of you, but still, because you're a selfish POS, still, you voted for him.
I'm going to say that 50% of Americans are racist and sexist.
No, I'm not going to say that they're racists and sexist. I'm looking at you, by the way. I'm looking at all of you.
And homophobic. But I will say that tells me that they will look the other way to that kind of behavior, to the plight of their fellow Americans, if personally they feel that they are doing okay and that they will do better under that type of presidency. And that, I think, is despicable. It is
This president had the African-American unemployment rate at the lowest in 50 years, signed the First Step Act, which is releasing African-Americans from a lifetime full of shackles, and you looked the other way on that. I can't believe it. looking the other way on the sexism where, women's wages rose, employment opportunities for all Americans rose. For homosexuals, I don't even know that it's homophobia. You see, you look the other way as Richard Grenell was made essentially his point man for foreign relations and then intelligence service because he's such a homophobe. And you look the other way. Well, he did that. A guy who has hung out with more homosexual people happily in public more than almost anybody else on earth. And done business and enjoyed their company and his wife, I would say, being a fashion model, has had an interaction here or there. I'm just saying, but it's incredible. It's incredible. There's no room for debate. No, it just is. It's our contention on what he is fact, cannot be debated, will not be debated, no matter what. And you're in trouble.
A lot of people in this country need to have a come to Jesus moment and look in the mirror and see what they did. She's right about a lot of it.
You need to have a come to Jesus moment.
Does she mean we need to have a come to Jesus moment?
Yes.
Or does she mean they do? Because
you do.
Oh, I thought. Because I thought the left at this point would self-reflect about.
No. There's no. Stop that. You don't understand. Have you not been listening for the past 4 years? They've been saying they've tried to help you. Now you need to have a come to Jesus moment. You know what? Should we use Jesus? Well, the stupid asses like Jesus, right? Okay, we'll use come to Jesus on them. We'll do that. Maybe they'll understand. Finally, maybe they'll understand. Matt, everything else has failed. It's certainly not us. It's not us not doing an inventory on our own beliefs, in our own the facts that we sling around. It's certainly not. It's not us who needs to have a reckoning with ourselves. We wouldn't even think that. No. Well, look at it. Look how cool we live. We get coffee enemas, and we drink the right kind of multisyllabic lattes, and we have kids with names like Walnut and Clayton and all the other names. So we're good. We already know that it's them.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up actually, because there's currently a sort of panic happening on the left about the House. So the Democrats, believed they could take the Senate.
Not our House.
No. The House of Representatives in the United States Congress. So the Democrats believed they could most likely take the Senate, which now it looks like will not happen. They could maybe tie the Senate if they win both the Georgia runoff seats. But more problematic, Robbie Mook was supposed to be running this big super PAC campaign, and they were supposed to pick up all these House seats. It was supposed to be a big blue wave, a repudiation of Trump. They were supposed to win a ton of House seats. Now it's looking that they might win.
Well, hold on before you go on. If you don't remember, Robbie Mook was the omnipresent communications director for Hillary Rodham Clinton, who was very smug and was dancing on the graves of Republicans on November 8th of 2016, because he knew it was in the bag, was happy to call you deplorables, was a smug West Wing kind of wannabe kid. He should be on Pod Save America.
He's a political genius.
Exactly. And he's just one of these totally smugged beta male. In other words, I don't believe in political zeitgeist as pornography, but if I did, this would be a situation very fitting.
So the Democrats have been preparing for a blue wave. They expected to. Well, obviously they expected to take the presidency. That goes without saying, but and that may yet still come to fruition. But they also expected Biden and the repudiation of Trump to sweep a whole bunch of Democrats into office. They were looking at unseating Lindsey Graham, unseating Mitch McConnell in the Senate. The Senate thing has not panned out for them at this point, but they also wanted to pick up a bunch of House seats. They had people running against John Cornyn in Texas. They had a ton of great races that were shoo-ins, and Robbie Mook was running this huge super PAC. They spent billions of dollars. About by October, about $10 billion had been spent. About $1 billion by the Biden campaign. About like $6.5 of it was by Democrats and Democratic PACs and stuff, and about $3.5 billion was by Republicans and Republican PACs. And now they're saying the total may end up being more like $14 billion for the total by both parties this year, which is doubles all previous records for political spending. So they blew a lot of money expecting to take back Congress, and they are going to lose House seats. They probably will still hold on to the House, but they may lose like 10 plus seats in the House. And they are in the middle of an autopsy. They had a big call today, a Democratic caucus call with Pelosi, all the House of Representatives people, and this Erica Werner on Twitter, who I think she's a Washington Post reporter. She was getting leaked stuff from the call. And here's what she said. So this is Spanberger. Alice, I think her name's Allison Spanberger. Mm-hmm. She's
actually sounds tasty.
She's a Virginia congressman. Says Spanberger on the Dem caucus call. We lost races we shouldn't have lost. Defund the police almost cost me my race because of an attack ad. Don't ever say socialism again. We need to get back to basics, is yelling. If we run this race again, we will get effing torn apart again in 2022, Spanberger says. Pelosi comes back on and says she disagrees. They won the House and the presidency. We have a mandate, Pelosi says before getting off the call. Also, earlier in the call, Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, who lost her race, was crying and mentioned how people...
Oh, God, please have audio.
how people can't pronounce her name and said, stop being negative on Twitter. Jeffries comes back on to tell people to stop leaking and that reporters aren't your friends.
That's true.
Jayapal is telling Jeffries to find the leakers. It just keeps going as Pascrell now calling out Schumer. Pelosi's done an amazing job, but where's Schumer in all of this? Says Pelosi has one hand tied behind her back. Rashida Tlaib saying, before we make painful statements, we need to wait and see how the numbers comes down. It feels like I'm being asked to be quiet and that we need to appeal to certain people, and that's not right.
Ooh, I like that.
Tlaib says they called Obama worse. They called him a Muslim and a socialist, and you can blame those words, but if it wasn't on Black Lives Matter, it would have been on something else. So she doesn't believe that it's about anything Democrats did, apparently. The end is in sight for this Dem caucus call. Jeffries said 7 to 8 members are in queue, and we'll wrap up, and then she goes off the
And so remember,
thread.
the far, far left and those radicals in the media, they're upset as well. You're hearing them right now. We're getting yelled at. But the ones who are in the media, the ones who run city desks and copy desks, and those people are upset. The editors are upset. They're ideologues too. How the hell did this happen? So this template, which was perfected under the Trump presidency where everything is recorded and leaked, no. Some of the less radical, some of some of the people, the failing army, with Khrushchev saying that anybody who retreated would be shot during the siege of Leningrad. No. This works now for congressional conference calls as well. Mm-hmm. Now, don't you think? I mean, you're the apparatchiks up there who were elected to go make this thing work, and you failed. So you're all deletable too by the left that you loved and created and caressed. Good luck with that, because they're angry at you. These are gremlins who have eaten after midnight now, and they are freaking rabid. I'm going to get back to my friend Joy Behar.
A lot of people in this country need to have a come to Jesus moment and look in the mirror and see what they did. She's right about a lot of it. Again, we don't call people names, but look in...
No, not at all.
But just look in the mirror and think about what you've done.
We don't call people names, and, we're just saying that you love a homophobic president, you love a rapist president, you love a racist president, you love him for some reason. We're not going to give you that reason, but that's why you voted for him, and you have that poster up, and you happen to have a swastika flag, but we're not saying anything. That's just what we assume.
The mirror and then say, did I vote because of my pocketbook? And did I ignore the fact that children are being separated from their parents? Did I vote because of I don't want black people moving into the suburbs and ignore the fact that black people are always behind the 8 ball in this country and can't get a leg up because of my votes? People have to look in the mirror.
The black people moving to the suburbs thing, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about that.
Black people a lot of times can't move into the suburbs because of white people's votes, but not for president. Definitely not for president, for school committee and for city council and for, what are they calling it now? Town council, because it used to be selectmen, but now it's town council. Right.
Right. If you go to a town where the sidewalks are pretty bricks, customized bricks generally. And the signs are customized signs that look gorgeous. And some of the streets actually just have outdoor cafes. The streets have been, shut off, etc. You'll find a lot of Black Lives Matter posters in those towns. You will not find a lot of Black Lives in those towns.
You will find a lot of property taxes that cost more than most Black people can afford to spend on housing altogether.
Right. And a lot of those property taxes go because our precious offspring need more money spent on their education, because all of them need an IEP and they need all sorts of a battery of different people to help them. And because we want the best schools in the world. And if we get to choose a school we go to, we'll make sure that we choose the best school in the town. Now, if that's the school where there's more developmental kids in that school, or if that's a school that's got the most minorities in it, anecdotally, I've seen that a lot of really good people stay the hell away from that school and go to the beautiful people's school. I'm not saying that we've ever lived this, Alice, in towns we've ever lived in.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
Man, the school as the status symbol is a thing in America. Well, you guys know. You guys have all of this crap. Anyway, let's move over from The View to CNN, where Essie Cupp, my only personal interaction with Essie Cupp was, I used to think about 15 years ago, she was on the air with us on the Michael Graham show. And she had a really bookish thing where she was really pretty and had smart person glasses, and that was her thing. She librarian kind of look. Anyway, and so as I was the producer of this radio show, it wasn't a raunchy show, but sometimes it was a guy's guy kind of show. Like Jimmy Kimmel used to be on. Anyway, I always thought that Essie Cupp was very attractive, and so And so when she was on the air with us, the radio host said, "By the way, Essie, just so you know, our producer thinks you're really, really attractive." And she said, "Yeah, well, I'm glad I spent all the money getting a master's degree for somebody to think that." Okay, you seem fun. But here's Essie. Now, with somebody who is actually an oracle and a genius, somebody I called Donald Tiberius Lemon.
What happened to the Republican Party, the constitutionalists? What happened?
Trump happened. And Trump...
Were the constitutionalists supposed to go for Biden? I don't even know how you pluck that niche out of the entire scenario. What about the constitutionalists versus the rigid originalists? I mean, you'd think that... What are you talking about? You don't even know what those words mean, Don.
I used to say 4 years ago, Trump wore the Republican Party like a rented tuxedo.
And 4 years ago, it wasn't a great line either. But I'm going to change it now.
To get through the election. And here we are with the dry cleaning bill. That tuxedo is in the corner. It's crumpled up. It's got cigarettes.
We get it, Essie. You get it. Your master's degree brought us this metaphor. Thank you, Essie Cupp.
Butt stains and, bodily fluids on it. And the Republican Party has got to figure out what to do with the rented tuxedo. They let him wear it for 4 years.
I can hear the people in the control room.
It's time to get a new tuxedo.
I don't know what you guys were thinking I meant.
No. Nobody.
She's talking about sweat stains.
Please.
Yeah.
Look.
It was sweaty.
The reality.
No, she didn't. I get it, guys. That's very broadcasting, by the way. That's a joke that everybody can understand and assume is very funny. We get it, Essie. Can you imagine if you have the choice? I mean, it's a tough one now. If everybody we've played and there's a few cocktail tables set up and you overhear in this bar these people talking, you don't hang out with any of these people. These laughing hyenas with the Essie Cupp crowd with non-funny jokes, with Jimmy Kimmel mad at us over stuff, with Sonny Hostin saying, I'm not saying it's racist, but everybody's a racist, with Joy Behar saying, "You better have a come to Jesus moment." What an awful, horrible bunch of people. They're so freaking unfun. Oh, goodness gracious. But thankfully, hopefully, I'll get a change and go to somebody who I consider a close personal friend, by the way, else, and somebody who is a beacon of optimism and gregariousness, my good friend Joy Reid.
We've been reporting for 5 years, Rachel, about Russia.
Oh, and Joy and Rachel Maddow. So, this is the table you want to be near. So once again, we've been reporting for 5 years, Rachel,
about national security, just undermining our national security, the impeachment, the racism, the Nazis, all of it, and then COVID laying on top of it.
which was such a gift from God. That's what told us we had it finally. Finally, it would kill hundreds of thousands of people, and finally people would listen to us.
Felt like a repudiation was coming.
Yes.
And I think even though...
Thank God COVID came, and that was the last thing we needed. Yes, thank you. Give us 50,000 more deaths, please. Make it an even 300,000. That's something fantastic.
We intellectually understand what America is at its base, right? That there is a great amount of racism, anti-blackness, anti-wokeness, this idea that political correctness is some sort of scheme to destroy white America, right? Like, we know...
No, not at all. I don't say white America. I would say America. Political correctness, some sort of scheme. It's interesting. It used to be that there were things that we all agreed on called illegal aliens. Then through political correctness, we weren't allowed to say aliens anymore. And then through political correctness, we no longer say illegal. We can only call them immigrants. And so now we, since we've changed the language, can say that you're bashing immigrants and are anti-immigration, and you could be canceled for being considered so. But they're the ones scheming.
Well, right. And they tip their hand a little bit when they start to explain to us how now, like, Cubans and all these other Latinos are white, and, some black men are white too now, and all these other things. Like, so, that the reason why Donald Trump got reelected is because people are worried political correctness will destroy white America. Well, but if quote unquote white America is including a bunch of black people, Asian people, Indian people, and Hispanic people now, I mean, like, then, like you said, that's just America then at that point. Like,
No, you need to have a come to Jesus moment, Alice.
what this country is, but you still, part of you, I think part of your heart says, you know what, maybe the country is gonna pay off all of this pain, the children who were stolen with the repudiation. And as the night wore on, and I realized, and it sunk in, okay, that's not happening. We are still who we thought.
Almost
Unfortunately,
every incumbent in the country is going back to their office.
Go right back in. It's disappointing.
Why didn't they listen to us? And now we're even madder at these people. These people who by now, by the way, we were supposed to be having truth and reconciliation tribunals for you people. You listening to this right now, from coast to coast, any of you who threw in with Trump, were supposed to be the target of tribunals to re-educate you and find out exactly what the hell you were thinking. And now you're still not listening. Why don't you respect us anymore? No idea why. No, not only are you people a lot of fun, Joy Behar and Joy Reid and Jimmy Kimmel, but this punitive edge you have to you. It's like, what a bunch of dour jerks.
yeah, do the work. You need to look in the mirror and figure out where you went wrong. It was not us. Nancy Pelosi says, we have a mandate. We lost 10 seats, and now we have a mandate. And, I think Trump still has a shot at this thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe not a huge shot, but because, the Democrats are going to do whatever it takes here. But, Trump still has a shot. And even if Biden is elected, though, it's almost like they're mad at us for not giving them enough time before Biden's in office to set up the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions. Like, how are they supposed to get it all organized now? They were supposed to by now have it underway.
And this shows you actually just how sure they were. Because they were saying out loud, yeah, we're going to pack the Senate. Yeah, of course. We're going to pack the Supreme Court. We're going to have 2 more senators get rid of it. Yeah, of course. Because they knew they had already banked the election. All the elections. They knew they had a national mandate that maybe just a few of the 4% of racists wouldn't get it and wouldn't fall in line. Mm-hmm. But they knew. They had worked so hard. Jimmy Kimmel had changed his monologue into a dark and stormy, screed every single night. So they knew it. So then when election night it didn't happen, suddenly they're stripped of all the weapons, stripped of all this authority they thought they would have. Mm-hmm. Now they've got nothing.
Well, right. And I mean, doesn't that tell you that they believed the thing to begin with, that Russia tipped the election to Trump last time? That it wasn't really that, enough people in enough states voted for Trump that he actually won. That was just unthinkable. It had to be, like Russia ran Facebook ads that twisted the brains of the poor rubes in Michigan, and they just couldn't help themselves. One thing I think is interesting, and that because everyone just views elections as who wins and loses at the end of the day, it's going to get overlooked ultimately. But there's a lot of talk about how Biden has now blown out Obama's 2008, his big record for how many people voted for him. And that's true. He has now had more people vote for him than any presidential candidate ever. Second place is Donald Trump 2020.
Right.
And Donald Trump is on track to probably also beat Obama's 2008 record. So no matter who wins, including Donald Trump, that president will have had the most people vote for them for president in U.S. history. And roughly, so far in the vote counting, 5 or 6 million more people have voted for Trump than voted for him last time. And
6 million.
I think it's like 5.5 million right now. Last time I looked at the count.
Yeah, he's almost at 70.
Yeah.
Last time it was 63.
Yeah, so I think Obama's record was like 69 million, and Trump, when I looked earlier today, was like at 68 million and something. But they're still counting. They're going to get a ton more votes. They're not done counting all the votes in California and all these places. There's millions more votes to be counted. Donald Trump, if he's reelected, which I think is still in the realm of possibilities here, will have been elected by more Americans than Barack Obama in 2008. So...
Right, and that's despite all of the media, all of culture, all of Jack Dorsey and Zuckerberg, all of the new flags on Twitter, all of the gatekeepers did everything they could. But they couldn't stop Americans from absorbing information and talking to each other. They talk to each other on podcasts. They listen to podcasts. They talk to each other at churches. Ugh, I know that's ugly, and those are your lessers. If you're a big liberal elitist, those are lessers. They talk to each other at churches. They talk to each other at events. They even go out when they're told not to by elected leaders because of diseases, and they talk to each other illicitly when they're not supposed to be. These people talk to each other. And they work amongst each other, and all of them you step on and look down on and lecture to. It doesn't care. They don't like being told what to do. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, they don't want to hear you. They don't want to hear you from on high dictating to them. Can you imagine, by the way, only like a Hollywood actor is just a person who plays make-believe for a living. Or if one of these late-night comedians, they usually go in a small studio, talk to 45 people in an audience, and, have a bunch of people write jokes for them and do canned interviews with people. And they assume that since they do that for a living, that you're all going to listen. Can you imagine somebody who owns a dry cleaner lecturing to you and saying, hey, you need to listen to me, Only these elitist fraud halfwits, could it be so freaking egotistical to think that they can do something like that? But it is what it is, as they say. All right, Alice, anything else we got to clean up, or should you plug our various platforms?
I think that's it for the evening. You can check us out at Burn Barrel Pod on Twitter. I'm Alice Shattuck on Twitter. He's Tom Shattuck on Twitter. We're also on Facebook.com/Burn Barrel Podcast. Burn Barrel
Where's
Podcast.
YouTube? People are asking about YouTube.
There is a YouTube. It's not very
there is a YouTube. We're just not on it.
C'est la vie.